the programming class, right? And suddenly, these little tiny freshman things just, like, come out of nowhere, and they're like, oh my god, it's you, it's really you, it's Nani, like, for reals, and they're, like, crowding me and bowing at me, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And this tiny little blonde thing just, like, appears out of a door from some random classroom, and she, like, just kind of slides herself in between the herd of other freshies and me, and she, like, turns around at them, and she's like, how dare you approach her awesomeness, you are not worthy, you are not fucking worthy. And then she turns back to me, and while averting her eyes and half bowing says, I'm so sorry. They're not worthy. None of us are worthy. Right? And she bows, and they all agree that they're not worthy, and they all kind of scurry backwards down the hallway while bowing, and it's the strangest shit I've ever seen. Right? So I'm just like, what the hell just happened? So, you didn't know about this? And we're back. Okay. Or maybe we're not. Maybe? Oh, we're still getting red. Hello? You may or may not be able to hear my lovely voice right now. We are having some connectivity problems, if you can hear me.
We are currently trying to figure out what is going on.
Oh, we're back. Okay, we're back. So, the connection dropped a little bit. So if you were like,
do not contact Nani to make her a cult leader.
No.
Don't do it.
No. I promise you, like, my cult days are behind me. This is not the worst thing I've done, though. Anyways, so this is going to keep going just fine, knock on wood. Anyways, so we have one last story for you. So
This is the time that Nani built a clubhouse in the forest next to the bar where her deadbeat dad forgot about her.
yes, all right, we need to hop back in time because I was like 6 when this happened. There I am, 6 years old. I am at my great-grandmother's house on the farm. My deadbeat father, who's been an asshole my entire life, he's not the man that raised me. My stepdad is the dad that I usually talk about. He has been tasked with the simple task of picking me up and returning me to my grandmother's house, his mother, because I'm at great-grandma's farm, right? In transit, we drive by a bar, and instead of taking me home or telling anybody where we're going, my dad decides to stop at the bar and have a drink. 1 drink turns into 2, 2 turns into 40. Next thing I know, he has completely forgotten that his 6-year-old is at a bar or even exists. Right? So there am I in a bar. My father's getting crocked with some other people his age who are also getting crocked, and I'm just like, aight. And there are like all these other random children whose dads are also getting drunk and who have completely forgotten that they're there. Like, I look around and my dad's not even sitting at the bar anymore. I have no idea where he went, but later we found out that he was still in the bar. He just wandered off and like forgot that he brought a 6-year-old to a bar. Right? So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, Dad? And this little girl is like, she was maybe 2 years older than me. I think she was all of like 8, right? But she was like, oh, yeah, your dad wandered off. It happens. It happens all the time. You should come see the clubhouse. And I'm like, there's a clubhouse? And she's like, yeah, it's in the woods. So I walk outside with this 8-year-old, and we are joined by like a slew of 7-year-olds and some people who are my age, right? There's like maybe 12 of us kids that have all been abandoned in the bar. And this one little boy who's like, my dad's not even here anymore. He drove off and forgot about me. He's like, it's okay. It happens. And we all go try, because there's the bar, and next to the bar, there's these woods. They're like a little forest, right? And it's downhill because there's a creek. There's nothing. It used to be a creek, but the water dried up, so it's just like creek bed, right? And we go tromping down the hill through the woods into the creek bed, right? And it's for our little troop. It took us a good 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? Trekking into the forest to get to the clubhouse. Like, this is not immediately by the bar whatsoever. You can't even see the bar from where we're at. The trees get progressively denser. I'm pretty sure that we only fit through as easily as we did because we were tiny, right? Nobody's supervising us. And lo and behold, in the middle of the woods, there is this clubhouse, right? It's an actual little, like, tree house. It's in a tree, right? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Who built that? And the 8-year-old looks at me and says very solemnly, well, I did. Well, me and Sarah and that kid, right? We built the tree house. And I'm like, awesome. Because me and my cousins had actually started building a tree house on our own at my great-grandma's, right? So I just thought leaving children alone with wood and nails and axes were, like, things normal people did, right? And I'm like, awesome. And so the 12 of us are climbing up into the treehouse, and we are just like treehousing. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm hungry. And the ringleader, mind you, our ringleader is 8. Ringleader by virtue of being oldish, right? Tells us that there is no food in the treehouse, right? And I'm like, well, why not, right? And I'm like, I'm thirsty. Y'all got water? And she's like, no. Like, in the span of a conversation, I find out that there's no food, there's no water, and our mode of entertainment consists of we have a board from one board game, a bunch of pieces from a different board game, and Monopoly money, because apparently shit just kind of ends up in the woods, and these kids have been scavenging things, both from the woods and shit that has been left in the backyards of people like a mile up the street that they've just kind of stolen out of the backyard. So we have a board game, kind of, but there's no food, right? And so I'm like, well, if we're already stealing their toys, we might as well hijack their food. I mean, come on now, right? And I made the suggestion because apparently the one kid up the lane had, they had like a mini fridge or something like out on their deck. Anyways, suffice to say that I convinced the boys, I didn't go, but I convinced the boys to go up the way by themselves. They are 7, but they're older than me, so they're ancient, right? But I convinced them to go two of them, to go up the way by themselves and steal food out of a mini fridge and bring it back. Right? So they stole soda and fruit and shit that was out in the mini fridge, and we were eating our stolen food and playing with our stolen toys, and I'm just having a grand old time while I'm also telling them that the structural integrity of their house is skeptical. So,
I just convinced these two boys to feed me and steal stuff from me, and then I'm gonna rag on their house.
Pretty much. So, within the span of the time it takes the boys to leave and come back with the food that I commanded them to go steal, right, I have become the ringleader, because clearly I'm the only one who has anything on their minds like fucking survival, okay? Because, like, their house is all gappy and shit, and if it rains, we are all going to drown in this treehouse, because, oh my god, you need a better roof. What is wrong with you, right? So, I have... somebody had a hatchet, and I'm not quite sure where you get it, but suffice to say that I go chopping through the woods, and I'm chopping down tiny branches, and I'm taking the nails, and I'm, like, thrashing together a better roof, and, like, really sprucing up our tiny clubhouse, and talking about how we need to make additions, and we need to make, like, you know, a little food bin, because if we're going to be stealing food, we need a designated spot to put our plunder, and since I foresee us being stuck at this bar for, like, eternity, we need to survive in the woods, because our dads suck, and no one is going to take care of us. And, we might have just dropped off again. Give it a second. Hello? You may or may not be able to hear the sound of my voice. We got red things blinking at us, screaming lost. Hello? Hello? Ah! We're back. Okay. No, we're not. Hello? 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 Are we back? No? Yes? Alright. So we blinked off there for a second. And, I think we're good now. So, I was the only one in this treehouse that had any idea about, like, survival, and I'm like, listen, guys, all of our dads totally suck. They are not watching us, they do not care about us, they have beer, they haven't fed us, and I'm like, and that one's dad completely forgot about him and drove off. So, I'm like, we have to survive for ourselves in these woods, because this is just our lives now. We are going to be the children of the woods, okay? So, I declared myself. It's really not surprising that I accidentally started a cult, considering the fact that within 10 minutes I completely took over somebody else's operation out of these woods, right? And,
Nani's just a natural born leader.
Apparently. But, so, when somebody showed up to fetch me from the woods, I was out there, directing construction projects, and divvying up stolen sandwiches and soda and fruit amongst my populace. And it was my grandmother and my Uncle Blaney. Her grandma has, like, a cane at the time, so she sent my Uncle Blaney down to fetch me, and he was very unhappy. But they had been sent to fetch me after they were like, oh, where the fuck is Nani? What have you done? What have you done? And there was some other random kid who had just gotten dropped off at the bar because his dad is also an asshole. Who was like, oh, probably in the treehouse with all the other children because, you know, that's where all the children hang out when we all get dropped off at the fucking bar. So, my grandma was very displeased. She picks me up. I don't understand what's so bad about it, considering the fact that I was going to survive. And I'm telling her, like, what about the other children? They are all going to die without me. Nobody had food when I showed up, Grandma. And she's just like, well, that's unfortunate, but they're not my problem. And I get put in the car and we drive away. About a week or two later, my Uncle Blaney was trusted with bringing me home. Instead, he also segued off to the bar, and me and his daughter were both abandoned by the bar while he forgot about us. So I reled my populace until once again my grandma came to get me. And she was twice as pissed. And,
Grandma's to the rescue! And we are out of time.
Yeah, that is the clubhouse next to the bar story. And, we are out of time for any more stories, and we have played none of the music that I was going to play. So